Hey, step to the plate, I'ma swing for the fence. Throw me the lob, I'ma dunk it like Vince. They think I'm from Sac with the way that I'm ballin'. I feel like a king, but I'm fresher than Prince. Baltimore raised and fly like a raven. Made it through mazes, that shit amazing. Vision so clear, they thought I got LASIK. Cradle to grave, we pounding that pavement. Made up my mind, told them pass me the rock with the game on the line. I'm taking a shot, shit all of my life had to play from behind. And now they just watch, like is he gon' stop? I tell them I can't. They think it's a game, they take me for joke, I just laugh to the bank.
Hey everybody, welcome to a special Christmas Eve edition of the WWB Sports Podcast. Yeah. I have on my co-host, Mr. HBCW himself, Mr. Randall. What's going on, brother?
Oh man, Christmas Eve and I'm sitting up here wrapping some gifts.
Yes, sir.
That's a good question. When is the right time to start putting the gifts under the tree?
I have no idea. I never celebrated Christmas as a kid, so I can't give you any advice. I would say whenever the kids sleep. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking back to when I was a kid, and I remember sometimes the presents you could just sit under there for a few days, and there'd be that anticipation growing of what's tree and shaking the gifts and stuff like that. But I just realized I don't usually start putting this stuff under the tree until the day before. I'm wrapping gifts. For those listening, this is Christmas Eve. I'm literally wrapping gifts right now. Lazy, I don't know.
Yeah, you're a man of many, many talents, no doubt. Christmas wrapping, pro wrestling analysis, just being a grumpy old man. Those are all your talents. So, and I appreciate you so much for it. Well, today we're going to hop into it. We're going to jump right into it. There might be something. Let's do, since it is a special Christmas edition, sir. Is there any movie that you must watch as a Christmas thing?
Right now it's a sore subject. But I'm going to explain why. My favorite Christmas movie, and I don't care what people think, is Home Alone and Home Alone 2. It's a double feature, okay? Mm-hmm. And this year, I'm back here in St. Louis. I, was trying to find some stuff to do and trying to plan a special date with my wife. And the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra played a thing where they do the Home Alone score to the movie.
Yeah.
We bought the tickets, and, we just had a pretty big storm that happened on Thursday.
Yeah.
Thursday. A big storm happened Thursday, and we got a bunch of snow. The symphony, or the Powell Symphony Hall, where the show was supposed to take place, they sent us a message at 4:10 in the afternoon saying that the show is definitely happening. Mm-hmm. It's definitely on, right? So we start, she gets home, we start getting ready. We leave about 6 because we left a little bit. We left around 6 because the show's supposed to start at 7. We get there. There's some cars there, but not a ton. Walk up to the door, and there's a sign that says the show's canceled. I said, "You gotta be kidding me."
That's crazy. So do you get a refund, or how does that work?
Well, yeah. But what happened was they stuck in an email about an hour after they email saying that it was definitely happening, saying due to unforeseen circumstances, they had to cancel. But I guess it's okay that we drove down there because by driving down there, they gave us vouchers for a free concert at another time based on everything. So
people don't. Yeah. People don't understand how classy going to an orchestra is. That is super classy, dude. I love the Philharmonics, the Philadelphia Philharmonic. I think also a great one is Los Angeles Philharmonic is great. I think there's another really good one, maybe Minnesota or upstate New York. New York is really good. But Philadelphia is well known. Philadelphia, Chicago, California, really good Philharmonics. I was on a binge back in my early 20s of listening to that. So let's get into the pro wrestling world. So my favorite movie, but before we finish up, would be, let's see, honestly, holiday movie. I love that Jingle All the Way, I guess. Isn't it with
good one too. Jingle All the Way, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, yeah.
Cameo from The Big Show, or the Jack back then.
Yeah.
Phil Hartman, I think. Phil Hartman's in there. That's a movie I watch it. So I don't watch that one every year because just time. But I usually watch that when I get a chance. Also, another must-see movie before we move on to wrestling. Not like I'm trying to stall or anything for the wrestling. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I watch that every year too.
Yeah.
But,
you are an 80s dude, man.
Home Alone was the main event. That's the main event. Well, Home Alone, that was 1990. So.
Yeah, but we know you late 80s, 90s guy. If you like everything before HD television, basically.
Well, look, guilty pleasure is, my wife when I sit here and watch the combination of Hallmark, Lifetime, Netflix, Hulu, all those cheesy rom-com Christmas movies. We watch all those now. So, I used to start watching Christmas movies probably a couple days before Christmas, which was the classic type movies. Now I'm watching them all the way from day after Thanksgiving all the way to Christmas, basically. So yeah, I ain't gonna lie, I watch it all.
Yeah, I like Charlie Brown Christmas too.
I don't really count that as a movie.
It's a special, ain't it, like 20-30 minutes?
Yeah, TV time special. The funny thing is when I moved back here and I was sorting through stuff, I went through a calendar, and my grandmother, she used to mark everything down on like physical calendars and everything. And when I looked through December just to see what was on there, she wrote down like, okay, the Grinch is coming on here, Rudolph here, Frosty's coming on here. I'm like, yes, this is why we knew exactly when they were coming, because like she would mark those times on her calendar. So when people hear that phrase, and people say mark your calendar, like that was a real thing that people used to do. They literally used to mark the calendar of when these things are going down.
Yeah, no doubt. That's dope that she took the time to really do that. Fantastic. So let's hop into WWE world first. And Raw, we had the Street Profits beat the Judgment Day. We had Rhea Ripley beating up Akira Tozawa. We had the OC beating Alpha Academy. The Bloodline talking about some of the things they've been doing over time. Alexa Bliss kind of getting Jerry Springer all over Bianca Belair's head. We had Sami Zayn beating AJ Styles. Woo, okay. The Miz beating Dexter Lumis. Bronson Reed came back, one of Triple H's most recent hires. And we also had Kevin Owens saving Seth freaking Rollins from a Bloodline beatdown. Bayley beating Becky Lynch. Wow. That's a lot of B's in one word. Yeah, Bayley beating Becky Lynch. Yeah. Kevin Owens beating the Usos. Kevin Owens and Seth freaking Rollins beating the Usos. So at the end, quite as we've seen, they've really made sure that the Usos are a backbone of all of WWE presentation. And I think it's a smart thing to do. They're hot. There's so many different people in that group that they can utilize in different ways, create fresh matchups. And they've done that. But I really want to kind of get into this whole Alexa Bliss. They're really trying to get her over as being this badass, this Barbie badass. Barbie badass Bliss.
I don't think that's necessarily it. I think that they're trying to bring her back into the Fiend universe. So,
do you think that's smart?
Listen. The Fiend stuff is going to go one or two ways. Either there's the people who really like it, or there's people who are just really turned off by it. By the way, the 49ers just scored again. Anyway.
Ravens clinched the playoffs, by the way.
What'd you say?
Yeah, and the Ravens clinched the playoffs, just for the listening audience. Just in case there's some Raven haters here, we clinched the playoffs.
Kittle just ran it in.
Nice.
Anyway, I think that, I don't know, man. Listen, there's some stuff where it's just like, okay, there's the wrestling stuff that we look at and we say oh, we like this, we don't like this. But with WWE, there's also the bigger aspect of they think, where can we make our money? Hey, that Alexa Bliss theme stuff, they used to sell a lot of merchandise. Maybe we go ahead and go back to that, even if we're sacrificing this character.
What if she's instead of the Fiend? What if she's just bipolar? What if she's just like what if she's just bipolar?
Well, I don't know if they touch that, but you know, they're already introducing this every time the Fiend stuff flashes, and it's obviously catching her attention, so that's going somewhere. I don't know if it's smart or not, but they probably know that they stand to make a lot of money by it.
Yeah. Bayley getting the victory over Becky Lynch. Do you think she's going to take the strap off Bianca or what?
No, that'll probably be like a side feud because, I mean, Bayley's already had her shots against Bianca at this point. I don't see them going back to that.
Yeah. I'm kind of still very mid on the OC and the Alpha Academy. Like, they're good, but not enough to me really care about their presentation. Again, you can't have everything perfect. Raw, like you said, we talked about, it can be a chore to watch because of the hours and just in general, but it's happy to see the Street Profits back and healthy. But I think, you know, we need to get a little bit more fire in their ass up, heading to Royal Rumble. So right now, I think because of the holidays, maybe they're kind of not phoning it in, but kind of holding water at this point. Is that kind of the feeling you're getting?
Well, you know, I mean, they're starting to build towards the Royal Rumble. So, I mean, they know the stuff they're building to. They're actually using Raw to build SmackDown, which is good, right? They're using both shows to help each other out with the whole Kevin Owens, John Cena, Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn. So you had the Usos and all of them coming in and invading Raw, basically. That, you know, that's building something. So it's not. I don't think they're phoning it in. It's in a way there is kind of that holding pattern because you know you got to start having people announce for the Royal Rumble and all that stuff. But I think that you know I'm not as down on it as I probably would have been in the past. But you know there was something on Raw that I did like, but it also led to something I didn't like, and you already talked about it with Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins in the Usos. Mm-hmm. First of all, did you catch the promo in the back between Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins?
Yeah, go. What you want to talk about? What stood out to you?
First of all, I just think that they're hilarious.
Yeah,
because you know they're acknowledging stuff from the past where Seth was like, "Man, we were a really good team," and he's like, "Why did you stop team?" And he's like, "Because you tried to steal my WrestleMania match." He's like, "Me? What?" He's like, "I'm 98% sure that it was you." He's like, "Oh, so there's a 2%. I'm 100% sure."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like I cracked up at that. I rewound that a couple times. So, I mean, like promos like that with those guys, like okay, they're talking to each other. Kevin Owens basically was saying to him, like, "Look, it's all good. I'm not even mad about it anymore. Everything worked out the way it was supposed to." But like, you know, that's how people talk, right? Like, you got friends do something that, you know, you weren't particularly thrilled about, but you're not mad about. Like, that's how people would acknowledge stuff like this. Like, man, are you forgetting that you did this? What?
Yeah.
You know, so I kind of like that part. What I didn't like about it, though, was that it led to them beating the Usos.
Yeah.
And I don't mind the Usos getting beat, but Owens and Rollins have not been a tag team in any sense for, 9 months now? Mm-hmm. So, and it's not like when they were a tag team, they were like this long-term dominant tag team. Like, the Usos shouldn't be losing to makeshift tag teams if they're not losing to any established tag teams. That's just my opinion.
Yeah,
I get why they did it because they're building to what they think is the greater good, which is, you know, Seth Rollins, but not Seth Rollins, but with Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns story. But to me, it just doesn't make sense for the Usos to lose against, you know, non-established tag teams.
Yeah, I feel that. Let's hop over to SmackDown. The week before John Cena comes down, we had a packed card here. Had Sammy doing a fiery promo. Sammy, promo was good. I just when you hear people really get the opportunity, give them the ball to run, they do a really good job with that. The Usos beating up on Hit Row. I want to talk about that match a little bit too. Raquel Rodriguez in the Gauntlet match. Which, I was not interested in the Gauntlet match, not even a little bit. Bray Wyatt attacking a cameraman, Rey Mysterio versus Ahal. Braun Strowman and Ricochet beating up Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci from Imperium on a street fight, kind of young buckish, so to speak. Yeah, let's talk about I really want to get into the. Yeah, I just wasn't a big fan of the Gauntless match. It just seemed like, okay, they had to put something on TV. What did you think about it?
I don't mind the Gauntlet as a concept for TV. But even if it is just, hey, we need to get something on TV. Hey, this takes up, a significant amount of time. I didn't like the ending of it because the roll up came out of nowhere. Like, give me something a little bit better than that. But again, it's a holiday for all practical purposes. It's a holiday edition. I didn't mind them doing it. I just didn't like the execution with the finish.
Yeah. The Hit Row again getting another opportunity to shine. I would like to see Top Dollar kind of his punches. Sometimes I saw like a really egregious. Again, nothing's perfect, but I really want them to do well. I just need Top Dollar. Like some of his punches and stuff, I was like, these look so worked. Maybe just the smaller things with him. I think there's a lot of pressure. People have been talking about how some people haven't been performing as great, and Triple H is kind of getting kind of antsy. But just relax, and you get an opportunity to be in a big match, a big opportunity, and don't kind of just take it in and slow it down a little bit. Anything else stood out to you? I couldn't stand honestly, the Miracle in 34th Street fight. I was like, this is like the WWE version of like a Young Bucks type of match. I'm cool. I wasn't interested. I'm more interested in getting tickets to a Taylor Swift concert than this.
I actually mostly skimmed through it. I saw the same promo in the beginning, which I thought was well done. I actually, I don't know if this stuck out to you with the Sami Zayn promo, but there was something about the camera angle, and I don't know if it's just because of the fact that he stood, he kind of stood outside and in between the ropes, but the way that it was filmed, it was something I liked about it, where it just made him stand out more. So I don't know.
He looks more serious. It looked more menacing in a way. Yeah, and it's hard to make Sammy seem like a badass. You know what I mean? Like a guy that's like really fired up. You know what I mean?
And I actually just saw this picture, but you know how when Triple H used to do his entrance, he'd be out there in the middle, ropes. And there's that time where he faced Hulk Hogan at Backlash 2002, and Triple H is doing his entrance, but with the way the lighting was, you could see Hulk Hogan in the background, and it was like a unique thing, like just visual, and just the way that Sammy was, the way that they framed it, where he was like closer than everybody else, but you see Roman like standing behind him, like it just, I don't know, there's some things like that I just like, as far as like just visually with the presentation, but. I mean, again, SmackDown was just, it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was a tape SmackDown. So,
yeah,
they were trying to, like I said, they were trying to get through it and do what they had to do.
Yeah, and we also saw a video of Lacey Evans. She was fighting COVID-19 conspiracy theories. No, I'm just joking. But we saw some more of Lacey Evans stuff. At this point, it's like just get in the ring. It's almost with the Hobbs thing. We'll hop over to AEW in a moment. But so holiday stuff, nothing too crazy. It's almost like how you get a soda and you accidentally get a diet soda, like it tastes a little different. It's not the same flavor. It's kind of like that. Like some of these holiday episodes, kind of like it's like, damn.
Now, can I say that? And this, I'm gonna give an unpopular opinion. Is that okay if I give an unpopular opinion?
Yes, sir. Please do. Please, we actually would love you to do that. The more unpopular, the better.
I don't understand why people applaud and praise any wrestling company for taking the holidays, specifically like Christmas and Thanksgiving, New Year's. I don't understand why they applaud them for taking those days off.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first, where do you stand on that? Like, do you think it's or what?
My opinion is, look, these people work almost 300 damn days, 250 plus days a year. They work a lot on the road. They travel a lot. Yeah, I do like the fact. I respect the fact because we've talked about a lot of wrestlers have died young. That schedule has been, especially with WWE historically, the scheduling has been ridiculous. The amount of work that these people put in on their body, knees, arms, a lot of drinking, painkillers. I'm okay with them doing. I'm kind of for holidays, giving them the holidays off. I'm okay with them even recording some stuff because at the end of the day, these are still human beings, and I just don't like this historically. Just these people work a freaking lot on the road, bro. I don't like being on the road more than I don't like being on the road at all. So they live in their luggage bags, to be honest. So yeah, I respect that. I like it.
Okay, so you just said that they work. You think they work how many days?
250, probably more. 250 plus days a year.
Okay, that may have been true in the past. Based on the way schedules work right now, at a max, they probably work about 208 days a year, and that's assuming that someone's on the road every single week.
Yeah, that's true. But still, being on the road is a lot. That's a lot, bro.
Okay, but here's the thing, right? Yeah. And I'm not trying to make it seem like I'm not trying to be heartless, but there is a part here where it's like, look, the people who come to see you are the people who work jobs that, like nobody's like not going to the stores today. Look how many people are going to the stores today, like Walmart, Target, Macy's, all those. There's people who are working in those, right?
Yeah.
You have tomorrow. There's going to be people working at your Walgreens. There's going to be people working at your gas stations, and nobody's going to think twice about the fact that those people are working on the holidays for the people who forget stuff or need to run.
That's true. I've been in there. I've been in that situation. I've worked in those type of situations. I get it. Yeah.
So all I'm saying is, and by the way, football's happening tomorrow. All I'm saying is that in a way, when you're doing shows like that, and I know people have to pay for tickets, but like if you're in a city, you're kind of rewarding, you're kind of giving a treat to those people who work, regular jobs like all the time that come to see you. So in a way, that's just kind of the way that I look at it.
I'm gonna call you the Elon Musk of pro wrestling, sir. You're just a slave driver, sir. Slave driver.
I'm not even trying to take it from the standpoint of
slave driver.
Oh, you're trying to go make as much money as possible. It's like sometimes people who work regular jobs have hard time.
I got a question for you. While you're making this really unpopular statement, right? Are you currently petting a cat and sitting on like a really menacing throne? With auspicious lighting?
No.
Okay. Sounds like it.
Well, all I'm saying is I think that I don't look, and let me also clarify. I don't mind.
You're anti-unions. You're anti-unions.
Oh no. No.
You're what do they call it? You're a Blockbuster or something. You like to bust up union lines with crowbars.
Let me clarify. I don't mind. I'm not bothered by the fact that they get the day off. I just don't understand why people are like, "Oh yes, it's so great that they give these that they give them the day off." Like guys, I don't know. It just seems like the stuff that people get enthused about is like, really? Because you're the same people who are going to go into Walgreens tomorrow and not even think about the people who have to work.
That's true. Those people are evil, and then they make your life hard. It's like, can you just find somewhere randomly in Minnesota and have it sent to my house tomorrow? I'm like, bruh, you're literally bending all of the logistics of any company in the history of time. Like even Amazon, they're getting sued right now. They're promising people 2-day delivery, and Amazon can't even do that. And I've had that experience several times. They're like, we'll send it to you. Why the hell am I paying for Prime if you can't get it in 2 days? What are you doing? I'm going to do my Jerry Seinfeld voice. What are you doing? It's not Prime. It's undercooked.
What gets me about Amazon is sometimes I'll order from Amazon, and it'll say, and I'm not even worried about the 2 days. All I'm saying is if you tell me it's coming at this time when I'm ordering it, that's all I'm expecting. So, like, if it says it'll be here tomorrow at 5, oh, okay, that's what it says before I placed my order, right? So then I placed my order, and then when the email comes, it says, it'll be here Tuesday at 6 o'clock. And it's like, wait a minute, that's not tomorrow at 5. That's days for now. What are you talking about? Or if tomorrow what's tomorrow Sunday, if it says it'll be here Sunday at 5, and it's coming at Monday at 5. It's like, but that's not what it said before I placed the order.
Yeah, it's like another Jerry Seinfeld. You know how to take the order, you just don't know how to fulfill the order. So it's happened a lot. I get pissed, bro. Or they send you one item a separate time. Crazy. But anyway, we're gonna hop into. Now we know that you are anti-union, and you're Come on. I think you might even been part of the. I thought you might have.
I'm pro doing stuff that's kind of going above and beyond. Like,
I feel like you were.
There's no. Okay, here's the thing. Before we get back to anything, here's the thing. In most jobs, if you have a job that's open on Christmas, what happens is some negotiations that happen, right? Okay, well, let's figure out the holiday schedule. Okay, well, you'll take Thanksgiving off and I'll work Christmas, and next year I'll work Thanksgiving and then you work Christmas. Like, they have so many people on the roster. No reason.
I just have a question. Were you part of the group that did the construction in Qatar? I feel like you would be a perfect fit for the Qatar. The Qatar, camps basically they have for the workers there. I feel like you headed up that project, and also a helicopter, auspicious lighting. And again, a throne with you, rubbing down a cat. So, but anyway, if I see you in a James Bond movie, I'll know it was you. But nah, I'm just messing with you, man. Let's hop over to AEW world, the wide, wacky world of AEW. Let's talk about what we liked. Look, Ricky Starks came. He didn't come to play. Fresh fade, shades. Boy was dripped up. I don't know if he was a drip god or a drip lord. Our Generation Z. Maybe our audience can tell us. I don't know. I guess he was a drip lord. Dude was iced out, fly as hell. I think his lines about Chris Jericho looking like an air fryer, a single father on his 5th divorce. It's just Ricky has been in his bag, and it's a Gucci luggage or Louis luggage. In the words of Deion Sanders. So he just it was a perfect way to follow up, because we know with AEW is very difficult for them, and then I guess they've been really paying attention to what people's been saying, because it was a great follow up. We even saw Action Andretti, a follow up. He didn't just disappear into the universe. What did you think about them starting off with Ricky Starks and then this whole Chris Jericho angle? Do you think this is something that could be good? Still keeping them relevant. What did you think?
Okay, so
what did you like? Let's start there.
Let me say, I like Ricky Starks as a promo. I like the fact that Ricky Starks had the ability to come out and talk. Now, where we start to kind of divert a little bit is the substance that they gave. Kind of like, again, he has great one-liners. It's almost like MJF. He can come out with the one-liners and do really well with that. That's always going to be a positive, and that's something he can, kind of keep in his tool belt. The content of what he had to basically talk about was, he was basically saying he lost, but he gave the I lost, but I'll be back type thing, whatever. Jericho comes out. Now we start to get a little insider, like, oh, you're not going to leech off me like you do this, that. That's because people say that's what Jericho does. So now we're getting into the insider stuff. Like, he's better than that. Like, give him real story stuff. Like, stop with the meta, all that. That's what they always do with everybody. Like, it's not compelling. But here's the thing. Like, he just lost, right? So 2 weeks ago, he cuts this fantastic promo with MJF, and MJF, kicks him in the balls right afterwards. Now, of course, Ricky came out on top at the end of that, and then he comes last week, he loses to MJF. Now he's cutting a promo. He gets interrupted by Jericho, and then he gets beaten down again. Like, that's not. I mean, again, from a storytelling standpoint, that's not necessarily the best thing for the character. The only thing that's carrying him is his own abilities on the microphone right now.
Yeah. True. I also want to hop.
That can't be said. The same thing can't be said when we get to Action Andretti. When we get to that segment.
Yeah. Well, another cool thing is Stokely Carmichael tried to steal my smoke with his joke, but I have a better joke than he did. So my joke was Daniel Bryan dresses like a disgruntled Trader Joe's employee who knows all the latest indie music bands. So Stokely kind of stole my fire since he was on national television, but I had literally wrote that joke prior to him saying it. So I said disgruntled Trader Joe's employee. Matter of fact, he's a disgruntled co-op. I feel like he's even more hip than that. I don't think he would be with the corporate, structure, man. I think he would be totally with like a co-op, brah. And that's kind of the vibe that I get from Daniel Bryan's dressing.
Stokely's line on that show, again, kind of like how I said I rewound the Owens and and Rollins segment.
Yeah,
I rewound his little comment too, because it.
You say you raggedy bitch.
That was the pop of the.
He pulled. That was off the cuff. That wasn't something that he.
and the expression when he's just looking, and after he says, "Did you just call me vegetable man?" You raggedy bitch.
Yeah, he pulled that out of his ass. Oh, also, just to talk about the Young Bucks, because we have to talk, because they kind of were on the show. I thought the trios match was a car crash. I thought it was silly. It was like when you go to those bouncy rooms and you watch a whole bunch of kids, like the chaos in a bouncy room with a whole bunch of kids just jumping around. It's like it just wears me out. It's like watching 7 of those. I'd rather go through 7 root canals. It just wears you out. So it was silly. It was a car crash. It was very popular with AEW, which is typical. Again, this podcast is a comedy podcast, so we're not bashing the Young Bucks. We don't hate the Young Bucks. We just say their wrestling style can basically. It's like no, I'm no mas. I'm good. It's too much going on in one match. It just, especially with the trios, it was just a car wreck. But hey,
now, did you notice something that went on around this match?
Go for it.
About that match, or if it was just how they wanted to start the show. But did you notice some music that was played?
Yeah.
You know what song I'm talking about?
The NBA?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? Why was that there?
Because it's their world and we just live in it.
Because Tony's got a lot of money. And people talk about Bischoff. Well, that's when people used to call Eric, and now you see this guy just randomly, we were just going to put the NBA on NBC song on here. Like, what? Why?
I liked it. But anyway, let's move on.
I like the song, but that's kind of like a cheap. To me, that's, maybe it's expensive pop. Like, they're playing the NBA songs that I remember from 1996.
By the way, the best basketball song ever.
Look, you don't want to get those copyright strikes against you.
I don't know if they my singing. They might give me a check back. They're like, dude, that was terrible. Here's some money for holidays. But bro, all right. So we had Jehovah's Witness Joe in a suit. He had his 2 tie. He had a nice suit. Looked very nice with a white collar. He looked like he was about to offer me a magazine on a Saturday or kind of whoop ass at the door. But I love Jehovah's Witness Joe. He looked really sharp, very, very polished with his 2 titles that he doesn't need. For some reason, he has 2 titles. Okay. We also had the 3. Okay, let's talk about specifics. This was, again, AEW they have this thing where they want to make everything ridiculous than it needs to be. They talked about the $300,000, which I don't think is legitimately $300,000. Maybe that's the reparations check because the black team won. Congratulations to Top Flight and AR Fox. So they got some reparations check. Maybe Tony Khan is showing us how reparations could actually happen through a holiday bash, $300,000 Three Kings Christmas Casino Trios Battle Royal. And I don't even think the money was real. So it was like, why not just make it a Battle Royal for opportunity for a title shot? It was unnecessary. But anyway, getting back to Jehovah's Witness Joe, That was dope to see him looking smooth, talking his normal stuff. Hook, we saw young Hook with his nice, we got to see Hook and talk about. I want to talk about how Jungle Boy's booking. It was very apropos for him to be thrown into not a garbage can. We would say, what is that, like it's not even a. Is it considered? Would you consider that a dumpster?
It was a dumpster, right?
Okay, so that's been kind of how his booking has been over the last couple of months, right? Was that apropos to say?
I mean, look, if Tony has in his mind that he's going to build towards Jungle Boy and Christian, and he's just going to have Jungle Boy hang around till Christian gets set, because apparently he doesn't have any other ideas for him until he has that match.
Yeah, very apropos. Yeah. Also, like staying on Dynamite, why the hell is again these tag team things where you throw Darius in there just to get beat up by John Moxley? Again, I think Liam Nielsen would get very, very. He gets very, very excited about this. I think Liam Nielsen, a fever dream of Liam Nielsen is something we saw here. Just brutality against Darius for just a sake of brutalization, because it didn't help Darius in any way. It didn't do anything for Moxley because he's a tag specialist. So it was just a match. Again, I think it was just one of those holiday match things. So I didn't see anything special there.
I think that AEW has this mentality that John Moxley is a megastar, and that if you're in the ring by osmosis, it's going to make Darius a bigger star by being in the ring with Moxley. As I said many times when Punk was facing random people, it is not going to have that effect on people that people were saying. It doesn't give them the rub, because there's nothing that's binding them to each other. For those of y'all cook, you got to have a little oil. You can't don't just put the rub on the meat.
No dry rubs. Pause.
And it sticks. Okay? So, I understand that, there's nothing here that's going to make that rub stick, if you will.
Yeah, if you will. If you will. All right.
So I was watching a lot of Dusty Rhodes. So,
I respect it. And then we had... Powerhouse Hobbs, he's been kind of getting vignettes. He looks amazing. He looks like $1 million. The dude is just an ass kicker. So, we got some more Hobbs trauma porn talking about he was stabbed, shot, little kid. I was like, this is trauma porn, hearing all this crazy stuff that he's going through. But I look forward to him getting in the ring, kicking some ass. Ultimately, I really think he should be in a TNT conversation, because Wardlow, let's be honest, when he had the title, he had it, but it wasn't like he elevated the title at all, maybe because of the booking. But I really want to see Hobbs get that TNT strap sometime within the next 3 to 4 months.
No. You know why? Because what I've learned is they don't have plans for that belt. Just look at the evidence, okay? Just take a ride with me real quick, okay? So... Brody Lee had the belt, right? We're just going to start at that point. Then Cody beat him for it after, he had beat Cody. So Cody has the belt. Then randomly we switched to Sammy Guevara and Cody kind of trading back and forth, right, with the interim and all that stuff. And then after that, you get Scorpio Sky. Now tell me, what was the last point where the TNT belt meant something?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Because you had the whole Sammy and Scorpio Sky and Sammy and Scorpio Sky, and then Wardlow, didn't he beat Scorpio Sky for it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so he beat Scorpio Sky, and they didn't really even feature Wardlow when he had the belt at first. And then, now you have the thing where it looked like it was building towards Wardlow and Hobbs, and the 49ers have scored again. Anyway, but, it looked like it was building towards him and Hobbs, and then they add Samoa Joe in.
Which was so unnecessary.
Now Samoa Joe has the belt. But, again, people are down on Wardlow, and again, I say it's the booking, not Wardlow, because when the month before he won the belt, everybody was like, Wardlow's awesome, he's the next big thing, and blah blah blah, and then they slowly let the air out of the tires of Wardlow, to where now people are like, oh well, he's there. If he gives a good power bomb, people like the power bomb, but people aren't interested in him because they did not capitalize on the interest factor.
Yeah, Wardlow to Wardlow to Wardlow to oh no, where is Wardlow? It's just like that. Yeah, I agree with you. Wardlow's no doubt. The dude has. Yeah, they get that booking tightened around. That dude is money. He looks great. He's very powerful, strong. He's an ass kicker. He could be. He could be someone that could. Maybe even help him rejuvenate Rampage one way or another. So yeah, I agree with you.
But think about this. Like, it to me, it wouldn't matter if Ricky Starks or Hobbs or any of those guys that are seen as rising. It wouldn't matter if they got it, because if there's no plans for when they actually get the belt, to okay, now you're going to feud with this person, and we're going to make it interesting by doing this, and this. Like, if they don't have you on TV doing anything interesting, and you're still there, like, people just get tired of seeing you because you're not doing anything. Yeah,
I feel you. Yeah, let's hop down to the FTR losing to the Guns. That's like losing to the Houston Texans. That's like being the Eagles losing to Houston Texans or something. I think I don't know if this is punishment, if there's more story to be told. The way they lost was interesting, but it's got to be. They're taking a lot of WLs, and I feel like they're on their way out, and they had to do the favors. What did you feel about that?
Wait, are you talking about FTR?
Yeah.
Ew. Look, man, this is baffling to me. How you have, again, we just talked about Wardlow and how he had the peak interest was probably about in May, right after Double or Nothing, and then they slowly let the air out of the tires. Like, FTR was rising around that time too, and then they just slowly let the air out of the tires. They're like, we don't really want to build towards this match that people would be interested in, because then these guys would have to win, and we don't want them to win. So we're just gonna have the Young Bucks drop the belts to Swerve and Keith Lee, so we can go on something else. And like, FTR is just like, bro, you give them all the belts, and you don't even give them one match while they got all the belts to face the tag team, until, like, what was it, last week? And then they lose to the Acclaim, they lose to the Guns. Next, they're going to be losing to the Trust Busters on Dark. Like, bro, you can't. Here's the thing, and again, we'll call this comedic. It is so comedic about how this company is supposed to be built on, not doing the same stuff that all these old companies were doing. We're not the Carnies. We're not old WCW. We're better than this. We're not into all the politics and stuff. But it's interesting how the politics seem to be creeping its way in there, but nobody seems to really want to acknowledge that it's happening.
Yeah, and we did see some CM Punk has been kind of light trolling, not really trolling, but he's shown some photos with him in WWE past, and he's shown some photos with him in FTR, and he's like, "Hey, these are my boys." So,
well, I think that's because Dak says the podcast is coming out, or I don't know if it's FTR together, but I know they have Dak says the podcast is coming out in January. And I think the first topic is going to be Punk. So I think that has to do with it.
I might have to subscribe to that.
They're going to be driving to the Trust Busters on Dark.
The tea is warm, sir. All right. Then we had, and let me finish this bit, please. I know you like to interrupt. It's okay. What's your sign, sir? I'm just trying to remember. Come off. You seem like
I don't really.
Oh, okay. I feel like you had Taurus vibe. Like you just come in like a bull in a china shop, just boom, 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 messing up my bits, man. Damn. No, I'm just joking. But then but I am long-winded, so I will say that. I'll acknowledge that. Yo, and then we had, this is so funny. We had Sanjay hopping up on the screen. He's rapping. Basically, he's doing a diss track. And just be honest, Sanjay raps like a try-hard middle school teacher from the suburbs. He really does. Bars were not there. I've heard Little Yachty have better bars than Sanjay. It was terrible. Now I do give him points for keeping the sticker on the fitted under the brim. That's something you're supposed to do. It's kind of like good luck. So I'll give him the aesthetic point of view. But yeah, he raps like a middle school, a try-hard middle school teacher from the suburbs. It was kind of cringy with the battle rap. But then we got even more cringy. We had Keith Lee getting beat up by a group of inked up gentlemen. There was a lot of ink in the ring. It was a lot of tattoos in that ring that Keith Lee was combating. They had this random guy. Apparently, he used to be a pitcher in Major League Baseball. I call him Bick Lesnar because he has so much ink on his face and arms. I'm gonna just call him Bick Lesnar because they didn't give him a name. They didn't tell us who he was. Everyone had to go online and look up the history of this guy who was attacking Keith Lee. Apparently part of this group. Now the cinder block stomp was pretty cool. I will say that. I thought that was super crazy spot. But I thought it was cool visually. I thought that's pretty cool. I don't know that, but yeah, I guess the new group is called the. Let me look up this group is called now.
See, the fact that you have to look it up to tell you everything you know about this.
Yeah. What about Rick Ross calling kind of? I think that he kind of went off the script there. Would you say?
Kinda. Listen, so many things about this. Before I forget, don't let me forget this.
Mogul affiliates. The Mogul affiliates. Yeah.
Okay, don't let me forget to talk about X and Andretti because I think that happened before all this. But anyway, man, who's producing this? That's what I want to know. I want to know who the producer is, and where the quality control of this was. So again, this whole story's just been a mess, man. And sorry to anybody out there, but. Listen, I'm not trying to even troll. I'm not trying to basically I'm not trying to troll. I'm trying to like literally just give quality control tips here because this whole thing you've had Swerve has been a heel, Keith Lee has been a face, but they never acknowledged that Keith Lee had an issue with him being the way he was before until a certain point, and then all of a sudden he starts to see these things. It didn't bother Keith Lee that Swerve kidnapped Billy Gunn and broke his fingers. That apparently didn't bother him because he still showed up for the match. But Swerve cheating in the match caused Keith Lee to walk out. But then they're still like, oh, man, can I even trust you? Well, wait. Keith Lee was the one who walked out of the match. Why would he ask Swerve if he could trust him? So then they team up, and Swerve walks out on Keith Lee. Keith Lee still wins the match. Why? What's going on here? Okay, so then that happens. Now there's still all this, oh, you got some explaining to do, and we're going to have a talk, and then they get Rick Ross, and come on, man. Like, this whole, in the segment.
Yeah,
Bro.
yeah. And this, just be honest, for me personally, when Swerve and Keith Lee were a good tag team and they won the tag titles, I mean, just in-ring work has been amazing. But again, booking and telling their story and giving them some authentic, really good quality storytelling, it's difficult. Like this, like for AEW seems, if you're not like the one or two people who are at the top, it's just very choppy on the back end. I do have a question for you.
Go ahead.
What's harder to watch? Okay, I'm gonna just ask you a question. What's harder to watch? Zach Wilson playing quarterback for the Jets, or the Young Bucks breakdancing for 7 matches? Which one is harder?
Oh, I don't mind seeing the Jets lose.
which one? Yeah. So, but what were you going to say?
I don't remember now, but
old age catching up to you, man. I get it.
Look, the short term ain't what it used to be.
Short term booking.
So, look, man. I mean, okay, Rick Ross is in the ring, and by the way, did they announce that Rick Ross was going to be on the show last week? Or
yeah, they did. And then I saw graphics online as well. So yeah, they did. But again,
okay,
yeah, go ahead.
So I just think that, I mean, okay, so Rick Ross is there. He's in the ring with Keith Lee. Rick Ross, I'm sorry, he's not good at being a professional wrestler, manager, or whatever you want to call him in this situation. It's just not good.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I think it's just more because in hip hop, especially if you're at a concert, you used to having a hype man. Hype man's doing whatever, throughout the whole songs, right? They're continuously, saying what they say. Like he's out here talking like this beatdown's going on. It's like, first of all, why are these random guys coming up one at a time?
Mm-hmm.
Why was this whole thing to lure him? Why didn't Rick Ross go ahead and, he was behind Keith Lee at one point.
Yeah.
Why would he have just assaulted him?
That's what I was thinking. I was waiting the whole time for Rick Ross to do something heely.
Well, and it was telegraphed, right? Like you saw when he's talking to him, Rick Ross is clearly looking like he's clearly a heel.
He's talking crazy.
It just makes Keith Lee look like an idiot. Like that's the other thing. It's like Keith Lee just looks like an idiot. He's out here with Rick Ross. Like Rick Ross clearly is against this guy, and he's just standing here talking, like just waiting for Swerve, and like, come on, like, I don't. The legend, the young legend.
Yeah, they just got to give him a little bit, maybe some coaching.
I was gonna say, Parker Boudreaux, like, kind of starting to show some reasons why he might not be with WWE. Like with the way he was kind of like, attacking Keith Lee.
Yeah, there was definitely some air punch in there, huh?
Yeah.
Well, maybe Keith was like, "Look, bro, you laid in too much. I'm gonna have to straighten you out." Keith, don't play that. He said, "Don't let the Dr. King voice fool you. I will break my foot off in that ass." So maybe hopping over to Rampage real quick. I will say, God damn it.
You skipped. I told you don't let me forget about the Action Andretti thing because you skipped over it.
Go ahead.
Now, last week, Action Andretti gets this win over Chris Jericho. He comes out in the first segment. He helps out Ricky Starks. And then he has his backstage promo. Like, how'd you skip over this?
Yeah, I mean, sure. He got hit with a flame. Okay.
But before that, first of all, let's talk about the promo.
Go for it.
This guy, we've never seen this guy on national television. I'm sure he was on AEW Dark. We've never seen this guy before. We've never seen this guy talk. Did he come across favorable or unfavorable to you?
Gave me Ricochet vibes. Ricochet he like basically a light skinned Ricochet.
He sounded cocky for a guy who we've never seen before.
As he should be, because he beat the Ocho.
Bro, you do not want to come. If you're a babyface, you do not want to just come across cocky when nobody has any frame of reference of you except they've seen you win a match.
He's dealing with house money, man. He's dealing with house money. Like, look, I am that guy, and respect me, and you're gonna get. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, that's
gonna get him booed a lot quicker.
We'll see.
Than you would think.
We'll see.
And then here's okay. So then he gets confronted by the Jericho Appreciation Society, and then they tell him that he's on a hot streak, and turns around and gets shot with a fireball. Like, bro, why do they do this stuff and then don't follow up on it? Why are people getting shot in the face with fire and then we just head on to the next segment? Like,
yeah.
That is the stuff that really grinds my gears, to be comedic.
No.
It grinds my gears when you take something that people could actually kind of believe into and have sympathy for the guy, and they're just like, they never acknowledge anything about his face, his condition. Oh, and he revved his face into the mat, into the concrete. So Jericho, by the way, if you've ever listened to a certain podcast, you've heard someone say, just like putting a hat on a hat, and that's exactly what it is. Like, you throw a fireball into his face, you don't need to do anything else to him anymore. As long as it's sold properly by the guy and the announcers. But then he rubs his face into the ground. Like, you're taking things that you've seen other people do and like, oh, what can I do to get more heat? More heat. Like, bro, this isn't Ricky Morton 1986 getting his face rubbed into the ground by Ric Flair, because I'm pretty sure that none of the Horsemen threw a fireball into Ricky Morton's face first and then did that. Like, that's the stuff that we're talking about as far as, like, man, now we're just doing stuff where we're just taking things. We're not putting the context to it that it deserves. and we're just doing stuff just because. Oh yeah, I remember that time that I saw this happen, and they rubbed Ricky Steamboat's face into the concrete. Like, come on, man! Like, do stuff and make it make sense. Stop doing more stuff to try to. This is what I've been talking about. We have to go, and now a fireball isn't enough. It's fireball and smear his face on the ground, or and then we don't acknowledge it. Like, you're not selling the stuff. If nobody's going, because they make it seem like it's just part of the natural television presentation. Oh, well, somebody got that fireball thrown in their face. Well, we have this tag team match coming up for you next week.
Yeah. Okay, I got you. You need a fireball tonight to calm down. But all right, Jamie Hayter, Hikaru Shida, great match. What was your thoughts?
None.
All right. Okay. Well, Jamie Hayter, get an opportunity to carry the ball. I'm going to say about Rampage because they're trying to work on getting it better, but still a lot of work to be done. I'm not going to get into all the nuts and bolts of the $300,000. Huh?
Has MJF been on there yet?
Nah.
Then they probably aren't really trying to do the most that they can, are they?
Okay. Anyway, but I'm happy that Top Flight won the trios thing. That was dope. I like that.
Cool.
All right, smart ass. All right, so there is a couple things I'm going to go over to just to get your opinion, sir. There is apparently a trademark that's being filed for. Hold up.
I hope this is the one you're saying because I have a lot to go with it.
No, it's nothing. No, it's nothing being. Give me 1 second. I got a telemarketer apparently.
That your alarm take your medicine.
Yeah. My Pez candy. No, I'm just joking. Let me see. Okay, so I think it's called Wrestle Brawl. Give me 1 second. I'm looking it up, sir. Thank you, Xfinity, for Wi-Fi being terrible. Appreciate you guys for failing on the Christmas Eve. You are the Grinches that stole Wi-Fi of Christmas Eve. So Wrestle Brawl. There's AEW's filing a trademark for Wrestle Brawl. So remember, I've said this many times. Anybody who listens to this podcast, I don't care. I was correct about changing the set. I said that a year ago, how they need to update, change the set presentation. They're doing it. I was one of the very first podcasts to ever say, yeah, you heard it here first, folks. Okay? Breaking news, folks. I talked about how they don't have anything that equates to a WrestleMania in terms of size, in terms of the cultural zeitgeist of pro wrestling. All major sports leagues, NHL has the Stanley Cup, NFL has the Super Bowl, Major League Baseball has the World Series, soccer has the World Cup. What is AEW's World Series, Super Bowl, WrestleMania? They have not produced a product on that scale. I am hoping that Wrestle Brawl is their answer to WrestleMania in their own unique and interesting sports-centric way. Do you think this is possibly a answer to WWE's WrestleMania?
No.
Okay.
Because they already have their look. A team event is the event that basically you start with. So
no, my opinion, but you have to have something that leads to something. All sports, you start the season, you end at a bigger championship thing. They don't have something like that.
Well, is that a function of the thing doesn't exist, or that they just don't do it?
It doesn't exist. I don't think it exists because sure you can have these other pay-per-views, but again, like with WrestleMania, they're on the road to WrestleMania, on the road to the Super Bowl, on the road to the World Series. It's like it's a journey from one end of the season to the other end of the season. AEW needs to have one end of the season to the other. Like if you're starting here with these records and you're getting to these tournaments and blah blah blah, it needs to lead me to Wrestle Brawl or something big and grand. Not just cool to have pay-per-views. Either you figure out how to make one of those, they're big ones where people are like, yo, we got to see this, or you have to maybe Wrestle Brawl is that.
Well, okay, let's go back for a second. If you look at the WWE, they started, as far as pay-per-views, they started with WrestleMania, right? And they had a few WrestleManias. Then they had Survivor Series. Then they had SummerSlam and Royal Rumble, even though Royal Rumble was televised first. But, the reason why WrestleMania is so big because they decided to build around WrestleMania as being the key event year in and year out. Like, there's no reason why they, for one, All Out would have been that pay-per-view that you're talking about, especially like last year, where they had the biggest moments, where they had CM Punk having his first pay-per-view match and the debuts of Danielson and Adam Cole and all that. Like, you know, and this year they were trying to build towards that. All Out and Double or Nothing are going to be their two biggest, almost like WrestleMania and SummerSlam. Revolution and Full Gear, those are your core pay-per-views, but those aren't the ones that build towards stuff.
They need
but
to.
The name. Don't let that name fool you.
My thing is, it should be Wrestle Brawl. Should be, in my opinion, this is how I would do it. Wrestle Brawl should be a 2-day extravaganza. You have your media, you have your entertainers, blah, blah, blah. You build it up to a big, huge spectacle, just like Super Bowl, just like the World Series, just like the NBA Finals, just like the World Cup, just like WrestleMania. Because right now, it's not, whatever they currently have is not presented in a way that it makes it seem as big, even though it is big. We know it is. You know, people who watch wrestling, but it needs to be it needs to be their thing. If you're sports centric, your league, your wrestling league, your sports like feel wrestling league needs to have those type of representations, in my opinion. So
I'm just telling you, like, the issue isn't that they don't have an event that could exist that way. It's just that they don't book that way.
Yeah, and they should. That's what I'm saying.
So, but you know, like what we said, like, changing the set is not going to change their philosophy. Adding a new event is not going to change their philosophy. And when I say that, I mean something kind of specific. It's not going to change how he does his presentation.
I'll say this. I'm going to be honest. AEW this week was better than it's been in terms of just, even though they had some, you know, so just in all wrestling shows, there's always going to be some hit or misses. I appreciated this episode. I liked the direction. I like how they focused on certain things. I like how they did callbacks. I like how they made sure that people didn't just evaporate, you know, for better or good. No one's perfect. But overall, one of the better Dynamites of late, in my personal opinion. More focused, better of late. Wouldn't you say?
To me, it's the same stuff that I've been seeing for a couple of years. But I mean, if you think it was better, I mean, good for them. You know, and hopefully it builds towards something that continuously piques your interest and you know, doesn't seem like, oh, this is the start of something, only for you to be like 3 or 4 months down the road, like, oh man, they didn't really do anything with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so overall, you know, solid week in wrestling. Any final thoughts? Any takeaways, sir?
You know, we're going to get into the new year. Obviously, there's no Raw and SmackDown. Well, I guess there's SmackDown. There's no Raw Monday, so you know that's 3 hours of our lives we'll have back. Mm-hmm. But you know, Royal Rumble season starts and football is winding down, so. You know, there's going to be a lot more time for people to watch, you know, wrestling and see what happens here. Yeah. Solid week overall, and I'm happy that AEW is doing better than they have been doing. It's definitely been watchable. Again, some storyline loops and some presentation things, but if, you know, Tony does pay attention, he's been paying attention to in my opinion, to some of these things, and he's making the adjustments. Again, no one's perfect. We're not going to just bash AEW like they're the worst thing ever or anything. This podcast is about humor and comedy. You know, we love pro wrestling. We appreciate the men and women that work in the squared circle, their sacrifices of family, life and limb. But at the same time, we're going to crack some jokes. We're going to have some humor, and we're going to talk about the crazy things. And we're going to, you know, and at the same time, talk about how we appreciate what they do. So at the end of the day, that's what the WWB podcast is about. If you are currently listening and you are not following or subscribing to us on YouTube, you're stealing from us. You are thieves. You are the Grinches that stole Christmas. So go to YouTube and follow us. Don't be a Grinch. Go to Instagram, WWB podcast _. Follow Randall HBCW. Do it now. I do it for you, baby. Anything before we finish up here, sir? No, that's it for me. Hopefully all the listeners out there and, you know, any wrestlers that are listeners out there, please enjoy your holidays and enjoy your family time and, you know, just take some time, just relax, reflect, start the new year off right.
And if you don't get your Amazon package within 2 days, you have the right to feel upset. Anyway, we are out. Peace.